I'm Jason Scorza, Professor of Philosophy and Political Science at Fairleigh Dickinson University. Today I would like to talk with you about the concept of cosmopolitanism. Historically, there have been numerous different concepts of cosmopolitanism, and I'm going to share with you 5 of the most important. Dating back to ancient Greece, Plutarch once said of Socrates that he believed himself not to be a citizen of Athens or a citizen of Greece, but rather a citizen of the world. Now, what could Socrates have meant by that? I want to suggest that Socrates was speaking of cosmopolitanism in a Stoic sense. And according to the Stoics, the cosmos, or the universe, was a universe of ideas, of values, of beliefs, of commitments. And to be a citizen of the cosmos was not to be a citizen of Athens or of Sparta or of Thebes or any of the many other Greek city-states, but rather a citizen of this exalted domain of ideas and ideals. Second way of looking at cosmopolitanism historically is the humanitarian conception. And according to the humanitarian conception, we as human beings should care about our fellow humans regardless of what country or society they come from. So if you think about the parable of the Good Samaritan from the Bible, it was not the struggling person's neighbors or fellow religious community members who stopped to help him, but rather a stranger, a foreigner. The third conception of cosmopolitanism is a cultural conception. Now, people who are cultural cosmopolitans really enjoy exploring the world, traveling, learning about new places, new cuisines, new traditions, new customs. They're curious about the world. They don't necessarily commit themselves to the world in a political way or in an ethical way, but they're curious about the world. Fourth conception is a political conception. This is really an idea that developed in modern times among people who imagined the world governed by a single state, a single government, under which all people would be citizens with the same rights, the same responsibilities, and the same sense of solidarity. Some people believe that the United Nations could someday in the remote future develop into a kind of world government. The fifth and final conception of cosmopolitanism that I'd like to discuss with you, I like to call the community conception. This is the idea that as global citizens, we each have a set of rights and we each have a set of responsibilities. We don't necessarily belong to the same state, we're not necessarily ruled by the same government, but we do share in common some political and social norms. The community conception looks at rights as they are enumerated in the United Nations Declaration of Universal Rights, a document that was established in 1948. Among the rights enumerated in this declaration are a right to liberty and security, a right to personal recognition, a right of religion, a right of freedom of speech, and so forth. When we think about responsibilities under this community conception of cosmopolitanism, we think about the responsibilities that those rights entail, which is to say, what responsibilities do we as members of a world community have to preserve and secure the rights not only of ourselves but of others. And among those responsibilities surely are a duty to respect the rights of others, a duty to develop a basic body of knowledge and certain competencies that will allow us to protect the rights of others, and a duty to use our power, such as it is, whether it be social power, political power, or economic power, for the sake of others whose rights are in jeopardy. Now, when we think about the competencies of world citizenship, under this community conception of cosmopolitanism, we're talking about knowledge such as knowledge of world geography, knowledge of current events, knowledge of the role of one's own country in the world. We're talking about certain skills such as critical thinking skills, the ability to apply ethical frameworks to complex problems. We're talking also about cross-cultural skills, the ability to speak, converse, and work with people from very different backgrounds than our own. And we're also talking about certain attitudes, an attitude of curiosity, an attitude of open-mindedness, and even an attitude of enlightened self-interest. The ability to see that in the long run, people on all sides of issues in all parts of the world may share a common goal and a common aspiration. That's all for today, and thank you for joining me. Again, this is Jason Scorza from Fairleigh Dickinson University.